So here we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is practicing what he's preaching. He's not just saying that you chant the holy names. Mahaprabhu, we say that, he has come here to give us the chanting of the holy names. And Mahaprabhu, while he's giving, it's not that he's just sitting back, relaxing and enjoying. No. Mahaprabhu himself is also chanting. He is immersed in the chanting of the holy names. He is showing us by example that what is the effect of chanting the holy names sincerely. What can be the maximum effect that we can actually expect when we are chanting the holy names? The tears should well up in our eyes. The ultimate ecstasy. Mahaprabhu has revealed it all. But we should be very careful that we do not imitate this aspect of externally displaying some ecstasies. That is very offensive and that is very shallow. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very, very, very strict, because the practices, the way Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed pure emotional love of God. Mahaprabhu would, whenever there was ecstatic kirtan, Mahaprabhu would display such ecstatic symptoms. His body would become shriveled up sometimes. His body would appear to be, growing fat sometimes. This would happen in people's bare eyes. People could actually see his body shrinking and expanding at the same time. Mahaprabhu's body would sometimes be as ice cold. His body would feel as if it is icy cold, anyone who would touch his body. But sometimes Mahaprabhu's body temperature would rise so much heat would emanate from his body that even the stone would melt by the heat coming from the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu would cry incessantly and he would faint during kirtans. These were all the emotional, symptoms of pure ecstatic love of God that Mahaprabhu did display. However, after the disappearance of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, some sentimentalists, some just, imitators, just some shallow imitators, they actually imitated this form of, showing ecstatic symptoms that Mahaprabhu had displayed. And they would just simply, in a very shallow way, they would actually display. They were called as sahajiyas. So this was happening after the disappearance of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. For 200 years, this was happening. At that time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur appeared. And when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur appeared, all this aul, baul, and this sahajiyas, all of them, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wiped them out. He just cleaned up all these apasampradayas. And he again re-established the actual siddhantas of the tenets of teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was the one who strongly established that how we should not just, imitate, our great acharyas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We should not just in a shallow way, in a false way, in just in a crazy way, just imitate them. No, we should follow in their footsteps. There's a difference. We know what our level is. We know that we are not at that level of, displaying our emotional love of God. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he was always in the Uttamadhikari stage. Srila Prabhupada always was immersed in pure, unalloyed devotion to Krishna. In fact, sometimes Srila Prabhupada's ecstatic moods would get revealed. It's said that one time during a Pandal program in Bombay, when Kirtan was going on, Srila Prabhupada got so emotionally ecstatic that, tears of love of God were shooting like arrows from his eyes. It was not just falling down, like rolling down his cheeks, but, his tears were hitting like arrows, you know. So some disciples were like, from where is this drops of, you know, warm drops of, you know, water coming? And they noticed that Srila Prabhupada was crying. And whenever Srila Prabhupada, you know, would get a little emotional or ecstatic, Srila Prabhupada would immediately change the subject. He would close his eyes and he would tell his disciples to do kirtan. Because many a times this kind of, you know, public display of ecstasy can be misunderstood. It can be misinterpreted. And it can be, you know, misconstrued in the minds of people, and they would falsely then try to imitate it and, you know, act not on the basis of natural emotional love of God, but they would just, you know, display some cheap, you know, imitation. So therefore, you know, Vaishnavas are very, very careful to not display their ecstasies in public. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he, therefore, when he was in public, when he was doing Harinam Sankirtan, Mahaprabhu would, you know, dance. He would dance in such a way that, you know, just by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, people would become devotees. People's hearts would change. They would get transformed. And of course, when Mahaprabhu was within his, you know, intimate associates, when he was, you know, surrounded by his intimate devotees, at that time Mahaprabhu would display these ecstatic emotions. So Mahaprabhu has given us, you know, just like a teacher may be a PhD herself or himself, but when they teach, you know, ABC to a child, to students, they will also say, see, this is how you write A. You know, they will write, you know, A like this. So anyone who is seeing this aspect of a teacher teaching some children, they may be misunderstanding and saying, oh, how can this teacher, you know, they don't know how to do A, they are also teaching A. What are they going to teach more than A, B, C to my child? They might not even know. But the teacher knows what is the level of the student and how to teach the student, because the teacher is PhD. So this is the difference between our acharyas, who set the examples for us to follow in their footsteps. And they show us how we can follow this process. So that is what Mahaprabhu did himself, that although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Krishna himself in the mood of Mahabhav Swarupani Srimati Radha Thakurani, combination of Sri Radha and Krishna, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So Mahaprabhu has come to give us, you know, Golokera Premadhana, Harinama Sankirtana. This is the love, the treasure of love of God. Mahaprabhu has come to give that to us. And when Mahaprabhu came down from Goloka, Vrindavan, from the Shvetadvip abode of Goloka Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu, when he came down the doors of Goloka, he opened those doors of Goloka and he walked down to us to give us this Golokera Premadhana. And that door that Mahaprabhu opened, that door is open till today by the grace of Mahaprabhu. And only by the grace of Mahaprabhu do we have a chance to return back to Goloka Vrindavan, because Mahaprabhu never closed the door behind him. He has kept the doors open. And that is the benefit that we in Kali Yuga have, that no other yuga has. Every other yuga has access only till Vaikuntha, planet of the spiritual world. Goloka Vrindavan's doors is opened only and only by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Krishna does not open Goloka Vrindavan's doors. It is only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his ultimate compassion for all living entities, because he is accompanied by the compassion personified, who is Srimati Radharani. So both of them, they are opening the doors. The doors of Goloka Vrindavan are open for us, and it is up to us how sincerely, how dedicatedly are we taking up to this process of chanting the holy names. Only then we will be able to enjoy actual rasa. We will be able to relish actual rasa, Navarasa, Navarasa. How we can actually relish the true rasa of chanting the holy names. It is only by the mercy of Srimati Radharani and by Krishna himself, who have come in the form of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he is merciful and allows us to chant. By the mercy of Nitai, by the mercy of the Adi Guru, the mercy of the spiritual master, the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we will be able to chant the holy names if we have the desire to. So with this, we will end here. If there's any questions, comments,